Okay, on the last chapter, welcome back. On last chapter, we look at how we're going to secure the organization, operation unit, account, network, how we're going to set up security service SAP, service control policies to control the boundaries, how we set up the, from up down, up to bottom, how we're going to control and set up the permissions for the chain of the authorities, particularly for the IAM users and IAM admins. And also you look at how we're going to have different operation units such as security, infrastructure, development, and management. And the management, obviously, they're going to have high authorities for this. Now, we are going to move towards another topic, which is AWS compliance. AWS compliance, they have 3 different levels of compliance, and it starts from the AWS config. And again, AWS config also is in line with security hub and control tower, and also the backup. The AWS config, they centralize to get the config, by working with security hub, control tower, and backup. And then another layer, which is system manager, which is top layer, which is control all the configuration, patch management, and also the vulnerability management, all the things for the image and code, and also the third layer, which is called the Audit Manager, which is doing all the audit managings, and we work with CrowdStrike, which is doing also the compliance, and the whole report through audit managers and CrowdStrike were going to be automatic generated by the compliance auditors. Now let's look at how we're going to have this. First, let's have a look on the AWS config. AWS config, it is a product which from AWS, they can aggregate different accounts from different regions, operation units, and also those different account data we're going to be aggregated, and further those aggregate data we're going to have visualized. So provide a single aggregate visualized data and also dashboard for all the data. So we can look at all those data from different account, from the different operation unit account. And this is typical AWS config. For the rules, we can look at aggregations, there's conformance pack, there's rules we can define, such as are we allowed to the rules which is, let's say, data migration services or CloudWatch and CrowdTrail encryptions, also the elastic block storage encryptions, encryption, key management. So we can define from top down what sort of rules for those config file, and then we can using the aggregation to aggregate a different account and get a single views from this dashboard. And also we can add up all the different rules for the different things, such as create S3 buckets and CloudWatch and CrowdTrail, or maybe add up the rules for the replication, replication or the migrations. And so this is security control config rules, which is tied up to all those different service stacks. As I just pointed out, the config rules, when they create it, they're going to create it regardless managed or customers managed by AWS, or customer rights, or chain track, or periodic. And this config we're going to push to the security hub controls, and also backup, which are doing the backup or restoration, the DMS server migration services, database migration services, and security hubs such as the security IAM, and also control tower guardrail, control tower, guardrail, which is from the code, when you push up the code to the pipeline, and also the pipeline, we are going to make sure scan and then go to the rear, and we're going to check whether or not that is in line with the rules, if it's allowed in line, and they can get permitted and push and going to transit into the environment. Otherwise, you are going to be denied. Also, you're going to push up to the audit managers. You're also going to push towards the confirmation pack, which is really doing all the confirmation. Also, those rules we are going to push towards file manager. So this is config rules. Config manager is really one of the big things from the top, which is really push for those changes, which is allowed and what doesn't allow, and compared with bottom up, which is, let's say, firewall rules or whatever, it's really bottom up. And so we need to look at it from how we come from top down, how we're going to set up the organization unit, just like how we're going to protect organization, OU, account, and network, and also how we're going to do the compliance in terms of how we're going to standardize the compliance from the configurations managers, system managers, and also the audit managers. So from the configuration manager, you centralize all the configurations, rules, set up the boundary permit, and push those configuration file towards the different, the boundary we're going to push and control them towards the different elements, such as security hub and backup policies and migration policies, and also there's CrowdTrayer and event hub and and the firewall managers. Yeah. The next one, which is system manager. System manager, which is operation manager for the AWS. The system manager actually doing all the resource configuration, group all the resources, services, application, help you to have visualize the data, and also take actions. It's also provide the quick setup and automation runtime, and also give you the view about inventory and for all the patchings you probably need. The next one, which is a security hub, and as I just mentioned, security hub, which is really the hub which is doing all the which is linked with the firewall manager, guard duty, threat monitoring, inspector, which is for the vulnerability scans, IAM, access analyzer, which is for the IAM, and also there's MESIS, which is for the IDP. So security hub, which is really the central hub for the whole security, because it's tied up with IAM analyzers, it's tied up with the firewall managers, it's tied up with threat monitoring and guard duty, it's tied up with MESIS, which is data protections, is tied up with the vulnerability scans also for them, and also is conduct automatic security check, and they conduct the AWS Foundation benchmark compliance like PCI DSS, and so it's really important. So the next one, we're also going to see the audit manager. Audit manager is pretty much automatic, because it's got those log file from BBC logs and CrowdTrayer, and so it's everything is pre-built and automatic, and just review and create, and we can set up a pre-built or customer frameworks and define the scope of assessment, and then generate report. The audit manager is relatively easy for this. Next one, which is also going to have a CrowdTrayer. CrowdTrayer is record all the activities, within the AWS, and store the data in the S3 bucket, and and also there's some of the data we're also going to take a track, such as work with lambda functions, step functions to do send alarm, or maybe scaling, scan out, or maybe isolate the instance, and also provide reviews, which is for the log files. So So you know, overall, this is what they call the CloudFormation guard, which is CloudFormation, which is really provision automatic provision tool to provide all the resources for the cloud infrastructure, security, stacks, everything. But also sometimes it can be wrong. So we need to have CloudFormation guard to sort of provide the advisor or due diligence check and guard for the CloudFormation's resource creation. So basically, CloudFormation template going to generate a config file for the resource, and we're going to push towards AWS code pipeline to prepare for the push, and then through the CloudFormation guard and guardrail, we're going to inspect the code to see whether or not that's in line with the compliance. If it's in line with compliance security requirement, it goes through, and the stack we're going to prepare. If it's not, it's not. And when the stack we're going to create, it can create it with instance, endpoint, and also database, or maybe storage. So takeaway, 3-line model, which is config managers, which is really the centralized things, which is do the centralized config for the security and also for the resource, which is also working with security hub, also work with backup and and control tower. The second line, which is system manager, which is doing all the patching and code management and all other things. The third one, which is audit managers and CrowdTrace. Thank you.